Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, Barakata. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and salutations to Yakim out there pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. Just keep pushing this word as hard as you can, Akim. We're at the door. This is the Brother Raya with another video just to show that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is bringing these prophecies to their fulfillment left and right. And the article I'll be using is on endoftheamericandream.com, a very fitting title. What does it say right here? The American Dream, fighting to restore our constitutional republic. And the only thing that's going to make America great again is when those nuclear missiles destroy this place from sea to shining sea. And the title reads, Scientists warn that millions of sea creatures are in real peril as Pacific Ocean temperatures rise to dangerous new records. Ocean temperatures continue to rise, and scientists are extremely alarmed as a mass die-off of sea creatures appears to be imminent. This week, environmental experts were stunned when ocean water off of the San Diego coast hit an all-time record high of 81.3 degrees Fahrenheit. And not only are these rising sea temperatures going to affect marine life, but also that radiation from that Fukushima collapse in Japan, because while they don't talk about it a lot in the news, that's having a major impact on our way of life. Because not only is the Pacific Ocean irradiated, but those waters are traveling all around the planet, irradiating all the waters of the earth to some degree, as well as radiation getting into the clouds and spreading through the air. And you can read news articles of irradiated wine coming from California, irradiated mutated creatures getting fished out of the sea, as well as mutated land animals being found on the west coast of America on the Pacific Ocean. Just more of a sign that we need Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai to save us out of this wicked place. Daily measurements began all the way back in 1916, and since that time, a higher ocean temperature has never been recorded off of the California coast. Unfortunately, this is not an isolated incident. Studies have shown that ocean temperatures have been rising rapidly all over the planet, and this has already had a devastating impact on many ecosystems. The oceans are the foundation of the food chain, and if sea life starts dying off on a massive scale, it could mean unprecedented famine all over the planet. And this brings me to my first precept in Hosea chapter 4, verse 3. Therefore shall the land mourn, and everyone that dwelleth therein shall languish, from famines, for example, with the beasts of the field and with the fowls of heaven. Yeah, the fishes of the sea also shall be taken away from rising temperatures in the ocean and radiation from Fukushima. And not just is there a threat to marine life from this, but if you've been keeping your eyes in the news, you can read reports of massive numbers of dead fish floating to the surface in rivers and lakes, as well as massive numbers of birds just dying and falling out of the air, covering large areas of land. And also there have been whales that have been beaching themselves on land to kill themselves because they can't take that radiation from Fukushima. It's just complete madness. Esau, or the so-called white man's rulership, needs to come to an end because it's killing the planet with each passing day. So I hope that people out there are taking this very seriously. Our planet is going through dramatic changes, and the numbers don't lie. The reading of 81.3 degrees off of the San Diego coast was confirmed by two separate buoys. Two buoys off the coast of San Diego last week recorded what researchers believe could be the highest temperature ever measured in California waters. A sea surface temperature of 81.3 degrees was logged Thursday by both the Torrey Pines buoy, 7.3 miles offshore, and the neighboring Scripps nearshore buoy, 0.7 miles from the coast. The buoys are 2 of 25 managed by Scripps Institution of Oceanography in California. 81 degrees may not sound that high to you, but it is extremely unusual. And other records have been set recently as well. For example, a record high of 78.6 degrees was recorded at the Ellen Brown Scripps Memorial Pier on August 1st. Scripps researchers have been taking daily measurements by hand at the Ellen Brown Scripps Memorial Pier in San Diego since 1916. On August 1st, a reading of 78.6 degrees Fahrenheit, 25.9 degrees Celsius, was recorded, surpassing a previous high set during an unusually warm period in July 1931. NOAA also operates a series of its own buoys off the California coast, but they are unlikely to have ever recorded a temperature above 78 degrees because they are farther off the coastline than the Scripps buoys. Some sea creatures are capable of relocating to areas with lower temperatures, but others are not, and those creatures are in real peril according to ecologist Michael Burrows. Some free-swimming sea animals may shift their routines, but stationary organisms like coral reefs and kelp forests are in real peril, said Michael Burrows, an ecologist at the Scottish Marine Institute who was not part of the research. In 2016 and 2017, persistent high ocean temperatures off eastern Australia killed off as much as half of the shallow water corals of the Great Barrier Reef. And Australia's very near to Japan, where that Fukushima meltdown was. You may or may not be concerned with the fate of our coral reefs, but they are actually extremely important to our underwater ecosystems. According to marine biologist Uwe Hoog Goldberg, 1 out of every 4 fish on the entire planet lives in or around coral reefs. 1 in every 4 fish in the ocean lives in or around coral reefs, said Uwe Hoog Goldberg, a marine biologist at the University of Queensland. So much of the ocean's biodiversity depends upon a fairly small amount of the ocean floor. If all coral reefs were wiped off the map, we would have global famine starting almost immediately. So what is causing this stunning rise in ocean temperatures? And I can give you a few examples. On the one hand, you have Esau killing off this planet with chemtrails, CO2 emissions, pollutants coming from factories, pollutions getting into the water, Fukushima, GMOs, and just madness like that Esau is using to make a profit off of. He's killing the world. And on the other hand, you have Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai controlling everything to bring these prophecies to their fulfillment. And Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai has put it on Esau's spirit to do these things, to kill the planet, to show what a wicked rulership looks like, and to make people appreciate the kingdom when you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are ruling this planet through the laws, statutes, and commandments. Needless to say, many in the climate change community are blaming global warming. Between 1982 and 2016, the number of marine heat waves roughly doubled and likely will become more common and intense as the planet warms, a study released Wednesday found. Prolonged periods of extreme heat in the oceans can damage kelp forests and coral reefs and harm fish and other marine life. This trend will only further accelerate with global warming, said Thomas Frolicker, a climate scientist at the University of Bern in Switzerland who led the research. And now there's a hot new term for global warming that is really starting to catch on. The term hothouse Earth was recently used in a study published by a research institute in Sweden, and it is becoming very popular. Slovakia. Hothouse Earth, aka climate change, aka global warming, aka global climate disruption, aka global weirding, was invented by a bunch of activists at a hitherto deeply obscure scientific institution calling itself Stockholm Resilience Center. Until they got a study published last week, nobody, probably not even the people who worked there, had heard of the place. But because Stockholm Resilience Center said all the right scary things about the imminence of global man-made climate doom, the left-wing media treated it like the voice of God. Others are blaming another source for the stunning rise in ocean temperatures. In recent years, I have chronicled the immense changes that our planet is going through. Earthquakes are happening more frequently, volcanoes that were once dormant are springing to life all over the globe, and we are witnessing shaking in unusual locations. And as it mentioned famines earlier, this brings me to my next precept in Matthew 24, verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, from marine life dying from rising ocean temperatures, for example, and pestilences and earthquakes, which we're about to get into with this article, in diverse places. And just think, with possible famines from marine life dying off from ocean temperatures rising, among other things, it'll cause nations to rise against nations, and a nation simply means a race of people, which in effect means a race war, because these different races of people are going to go back to their own and fight for their own best interest. Everything's working in tandem beautifully. Well, the same things are happening on the ocean floor. Underwater volcanic eruptions are generating immense amounts of heat, underwater earthquakes are producing giant cracks in the crust of our planet, and magma from the core of the Earth is pushing up toward the surface. The ongoing eruption in Hawaii is an example above the surface of the water that we can see, but anything going on below the surface generally does not make the news. These earth changes are completely and utterly outside of our control, and there's nothing that we can do to stop them. If they continue to get worse, ocean temperatures will continue to rise even higher, and that will be absolutely devastating to the global food chain. This should be one of the biggest news stories of the year, but unfortunately the mainstream media is almost entirely ignoring it. Salakia. And the reason for this is because the elites are scared. They're doing anything they can to divert these prophecies from coming to pass. If they show events like this in the news, which can be linked to prophecies, that'll get the people to thinking. That's what they don't want. But Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai is pushing these prophecies to their fulfillment, so there's nothing that can be done against it. These are very beautiful times we're living in, Akim. And I'm going to close it off in Zephaniah chapter 1. I'm going to start at verse 2. And I will utterly consume all things from off the land, saith Yahweh. Verse 3, I will consume man and beast. From famines, for instance, I will consume the fowls of the heaven and the fishes of the sea. Again, from rising sea temperatures and Fukushima radiation, and the stumbling blocks with the wicked. And I will cut off man from off the land, saith Yahweh. So as you can see, these prophecies are beautiful. If you have a spiritual eye, you can see them coming to their fulfillment. And what I found interesting is when you go to stumbling blocks in the Strongs, it is Strong's H4384.
Strong's H4384. Machshelah.
Machshelah, which reads, overthrown mass, stumbling block, something overthrown, decay, ruin, thing overthrown, figurative of kingdom, stumbling block of idols. And what it say? And the stumbling blocks with the wicked. So we're seeing Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai overthrow Esau, the so-called white man's wicked kingdom, with each passing day. So brothers, just stay faithful and do anything you can to stay in this truth, because we're at the door. So with this video, I hope you sincere Akim were edified. I'm going to say a Baba Ball, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.